Alright, so today I'm going to do a video that's a bit different. So I'm going to be making a food review, but it's still food based. So recently, someone asked me what best meat was. Like, objectively, what's the best meat? So in my head, it's a race between beef and fish. Like, it's just straight up, just it's beef or fish. And they kept saying chicken. And the reasoning behind chicken was because you could flavor chicken with anything, but beef, pork, and fish all have like stronger taste. I'm also going to point out that on Twitter, which is where this ended up being pushed, you only have four things that like you can only have like four choices between like a poll. So it's not going to have like a bunch of other meats. It's going to have it's just chicken, not poultry. Fish in my head was also seafood, but I should have put just seafood. Even though I think people distinguish those differently, but there is like overlap, which I understand because like seafood would also have like crustaceans and like shellfish and all that stuff. Um, but still, so I kept saying beef. Beef is like objectively like the best one because he asked chicken, pork, or beef originally, and then like I threw fish, and I was like, what about fish? Because I would say fish is also like, really up there with all the kinds of fish and all that. And then like again in my head also seafood, so you have stuff like shrimp, lobster, and stuff like that. Where crab, like all of those are just so different. Where it's almost like how unless like there's the like smell thing which I obviously just don't understand. Um, Especially when people refuse to even try it. But basically, I put this poll. I can only have four. I was gonna put fake meat as like the fifth one. I was gonna put like lamb or anything like that. I should have put poultry instead of chicken, but this was like I made this poll as like as the conversation was winding down, and we just couldn't come to an agreement. Where he kept saying chicken because you can flavor chicken any way you want, and I was like, yeah, but isn't that the flavoring, not the chicken itself? You're not liking the chicken flavor. You're liking the flavoring you're putting on the chicken, which you can argue, which I would argue, you could do anything fish people flavor all the time, like lemon and stuff like that. But still, pork, you have barbecue pork, you have also barbecue chicken. Chicken to me is one of those dishes that it's a universal thing. Like everywhere has chicken. Chickens are so easy to take care of, all of that. So that's why I'm saying this is objectively the best in the sense of which one tastes the best and has like the most. Which to me will also includes which one has the most variety. Chicken, I feel like there's like only so many things you can do with it. But then you bring in fish and beef, like I said, so many types of fish. There's like fish can be so different from fish to fish. It's crazy from flavor, from texture, all that. Chicken, you got like four pieces, like four at most four cuts of chicken realistically, and that's not to say chicken's bad. It's definitely a more core meat. I would say even just with poultry itself, I would say it's the weakest of poultry. That being said, I still like chicken. I'm not saying chicken is bad. I'm just saying it's objectively not the best, like flavor wise on that. And so I'm going to show this. This is what ended up being the poll. This is like what we ended up getting from it. So from this, you can see that beef ended up winning, right? I'm surprised by the lack of fish. I'm even more surprised by the lack of pork. It was a very close race. Chicken was like almost passing, and I realized that people are thinking. And I asked people later, and some people were like, "Oh, now that I know this objective thing or whatever, I would have it's definitely been beef or fish." One person actually, I can't share the conversation because it was way too long and it's just one server. But even they said they were like, "Oh, I picked chicken because I eat chicken a lot." But if you had to ask me which one's like my absolute favorite, I think they said beef, and then they said fish second. But then they were like, "But if you put shellfish in there, I wouldn't pick fish because I don't like shellfish. Like if you made it seafood." Um, which like I agreed with everything they were saying minus the shellfish part because I like shellfish. But this, I feel like this is just very surprising to me. So growing up, I grew up North Carolina where there's like it's known to have good barbecue pork, especially in Lexington there. And I've been there and I can eat it, but I don't really care for it. And even now, like there's very specific dishes I like that are pork, or not. I can't even say like that I can eat. I still don't really like them. Pork's a very like finicky thing with me, and even then, like the ones that I can eat, I can only eat so much before I'm just done, and it has to be like chopped up fine. It's just the pork flavor is just so powerful. I just don't like it. It makes my mouth feel weird and all that. Just nah. Pretty sure only one person voted for it. And I think because I was like watching this after the first 24 hours and started posting it in other places. Obviously, I couldn't vote in this, and because so this is just pink because it won. If I could vote, originally I would put beef. I might have put fish. Like it. Luckily, I didn't have to because I had to think it through. My original stance was with beef. Um, even though like my more favorite dishes are seafood and stuff, but I can understand people not putting fish because of smell stuff, and I feel like beef's an expensive, more of an expensive meat, and there's so much to it. So other than the smell thing, I feel like most people like fish. But it's like the people that don't like it usually don't like the smell, minus like a few people, like Nake's one of those people who keeps trying, he just doesn't like it, and which I respect that. You know, I can understand. I can understand not liking something as long as you've tried it. Whenever it's like, oh, I can't eat it because of the smell, I just don't understand that. Especially whenever people are like, oh, it's a fishy smell. Then someone was like, but I like the smell of it when it's cooked. It's like, why would you judge why would you judge something based on how it smells before it's cooked? Of course, a dead thing could smell bad. I don't understand. I don't understand smell. I don't get it. So yeah, I'm surprised fish didn't go up, especially since go up higher, especially since I don't know, or I do know a bunch of wheat and stuff, and I'm surprised with the lack of voting there. Um, I'm really surprised by by chicken being up there, but it's like one of the people I ended up talking to afterwards because I was curious of who voted where, especially with chicken, and they said they voted chicken because they eat it the most, they eat it the most often, all that, because again it's a cheaper meat, so of course we eat it a lot more. I think here for like a pound and a half of like kind of cheap beef, it's like $9, but we can get like 8 or 12 somewhere in that area chicken thighs for like $5 tops, depending if there's a sale or not. That's also skin on, which skin's delicious. If you don't like chicken skin, what's wrong with you? I don't like bones because they're dangerous. So Vicky and I have like an agreement where she will like get rid of the bone and make it as safe as possible, the chicken stuff. Um, but even then, I feel like most people when they eat chicken, they just think of slash eat just the breast, skinless, boneless breast, and that's it. And I've come to learn that that's good in some cases, but for the most part, that's like the worst way to eat chicken. And I just don't. I'm very curious to kind of keep this conversation going, and I would really like to know where everyone would vote on this, and on top of that, where would you add anything else? Because I think again, I think overall we can all agree that chicken is most eaten meat, like without a doubt. It is everywhere, all of that. And then there's the whole thing with like cows and they pollute a bunch and all of that. Like I understand that. That's why we're talking about just flavor and what you can do. As beef, I feel like there's so many options with how big the cow is and the cuts and stuff you can get from that are just so good. And I feel like if you don't like fish, then your choice kind of has to be beef, unless you just don't like either one for some reason, or you're like vegetarian or vegan or something. Which fully get. Like I said, I would have put fake meat on here if I could. That was gonna be the fifth one I put. Because I feel like lamb and things like that aren't as popular. I feel like turkey's only really eaten around like holidays and like big events, or it's in like sandwich form. Um, I think duck's just a better chicken. Some people are like, "Oh, it's too greasy," but I feel like if it's cooked right, that's not an issue. Because I would argue that a lot of people miscook turkey, chicken all the time. Like again, white meat, breast only. People try that stuff out like crazy because they're scared. They're scared of chicken. Uh, Fish, you can certain depending on how fresh your fish is and stuff like that. Like you can go to an actual sushi place and get like good, just raw fish, delicious. Um, but then I think it's easy for people to overcook. But then you get beef and you have steak, and you can cook it correctly and make it like a nice like medium rare, or you can ruin it and make it done. You can do whatever you want with it. I feel like there's a lot more margin for error here. There's a lot more to do with in general, and I'd just be very curious to see what people would say the best meat is. Because overall, like if you're counting everything, like the way it impacts the environment, the way it helps people, doesn't help people, all that stuff, chicken has to kind of be like the winner there. But if you're talking, I want to know what people think with being objective as possible. Not what's your favorite. It is which one do you think is the best? Is the best as far as taste, what you could do with it, just all of that. Because I feel like it. That's why I feel like it goes down to beef or fish, and I'd be very curious to know what people think objectively think which is the best one. All right, leave your comments down below. I want to know.